Show.
Hi, I'm Gaby Company and this is The Dreaming Show. In today's show, my guest is the awesome Ruth STUETTGEN. Hello, Ruth. How are you?
Hi, Gabby. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Really good. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Our episode today is From Misery to Mastery. Ruth is a life and business coach, author, and speaker. She helps women, moms in business, create a perfect balance between their careers and family life. Could you tell, please, how do you do this?
How do I do that? It's a very challenging question because I myself need to find that balance, and sometimes it's not so easy.
Yeah, it's not easy.
I'm a single mum, so I've got I've got three children, but two are still at home, and I live with my parents. So I also have to juggle things first, but I always try and figure out ways of finding time for myself, even if it's just 10 minutes. And even if it's 10 minutes of just being quiet and having a meditation, that's what brings me back, and just to breathe, you know. So I teach my women in business, my mums in business, a lot of them are mums, to do the same. So to get rid of the distractions, to declutter, to find what's important for them, what works for them. What I tell them may not necessarily work for their for their purposes or for their lifestyle. And then we figure out what works for them, what they would like to achieve at the end, and then put simple steps and strategies into place, and I hold them accountable for that.
Ruth, you are successful now, but tell me what happened in the past, because what I know is you face some kind of domestic violence. Could you tell us a little bit about this, please?
Yes, that's part of my journey in life, I believe, and I have let go of that. I lived in Germany for a long time. I was married over there, and what I felt I was living in an abusive relationship. It started off really small, and after a while, you know, it became more often. It would become more often, and then it would escalate a little bit, and then it would get better again. So your relationship becomes better, and there's something called a cycle of violence, where where it escalates, it gets to the top, the peak, and then you work through it, or you may not work through it, but it gets better. So they call that the honeymoon phase, and then it goes around again, and it gets to the peak again, where something happens, boom.
It's a cycle.
The cycle.
It's a vicious cycle.
It can be very vicious, and I was living that for a long time. Although quite often I blamed myself. I didn't look for the fault in my partner. I believed that I was being abused. It's always two sides to a story. And so then after a while, I decided that enough's enough. And it took me a long, long time to actually recognize that. I was going through that, as I used to be in the police force. I used to work with families that were going through that family violence issue. And when I was going through it, I didn't recognize it, or I chose not to recognize it. And then finally, when I recognized it a few years ago, and it's not that long ago, that I realized that, hey, that's not right. You know, nobody should be treated like that.
Of course not.
Yeah. No, everyone deserves to have peace. Everyone deserves to have a balanced relationship, because and that's what it is. You know, you respect each other. None of us are perfect, but you find that perfect balance in your relationship. You respect each other. You work things out, and you communicate. And I think that's what the fallback was for us. That communication wasn't there. I wasn't able to say, or I felt not capable of saying that, hey, that's not the right thing that you're doing, so please stop and let's work through this.
Tell me, what did you learn from this experience?
From that experience, I learned that no one is worthy of being maltreated, of being not respected. And because we all deserve respect, we all deserve peace, and we don't have to put up with it. As soon as we realize that we are going through that, we can say no, we can stop and say, no, I don't want to be treated like this. And also respect the other person. So it's not about saying no all the time, but changing your behavior as well, but being strong and definite about it. I thought I was a confident person, but I was also a peace lover, and I still am today. You know, I like everything. When my kids fight amongst themselves, I just want them to stop and say, just stop it, you know. But that's just, you need to be able to learn how to deal with conflict, how to cope with conflict by communication.
Of course, it's vital, the communication.
Yeah, that's right. So when you're going through that, I learned now that I will never ever let that happen to me again. And say, no, that's not how I want to be treated. And if we can't meet in the middle, then...
Where can people go if this situation happened to them? Could you tell, please, to the audience?
There are lots of people that you can go through. Your first, if you can find a person that you can confide in, that's very, very important. And now with the light being shone on family violence, it's speak out, speak out, speak up. Don't hide behind your closed doors, and don't be ashamed of saying what it is that you're going through, of saying that you are suffering and that you think that there's something wrong. Then the next step is, if it's very, very life-threatening, of course, apart from your friend, pick up that phone. Pick it up and dial your emergency services number wherever you are in the world. Every country has different numbers. So, you know, pick up the phone. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed about what the neighbours are going to say, or that you're going to, what are the kids going to say about the person that's abusing you. Don't worry about that. Just try and be as safe as you can. The police will be able to deal with that and send you in those directions where you need to go to be able to have some support. There are other numbers as well in every country where you can have the helplines and the support lines if you don't want to call the police, if you don't feel that it's necessary to call the police. Ask for help. That's the most important thing. And think of your safety. Your safety is of the utmost importance, and then your kids' safety if you've got family and kids around you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So important. Your life is precious. Speak up. Ask for help. Thank you. Could you tell us about your business, please? How can people contact you?
My website is one of the ways that they can contact me. You can contact me at www.ruthspeaks.com. So that's ruthspeaks.com. Or I'm on social media and you can find me there as well. I love to connect with anybody who would need to have a chat or just like to join my community with some tips, powerful empowerment tips I put out, and my email newsletters. I do that as well.
Thank you, Ruth. In the next episode, because I'm amazed having Ruth with us today, so in the next episode, Ruth, can you talk about your book, From Misery to Mastery, because you have 2 books. Okay, I would like the next episode you can talk about your book.
The next book
Episode.
is, the book about the book of inspiration for women by women. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for being with us, Ruth. Would you like to add anything before we finish?
Yes, I'd like to add that you are amazing, and it doesn't matter what you've gone through in your life, you can get through that. Because each thing that we go through is a lesson for us, and I do believe that whatever I've gone through was a lesson for me to grow, and the same thing would be for you. Whatever it is, just know that you're on the path that you're meant to be on, even if it's like me and Gabby sitting here today having a chat to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Powerful
Thank you for
message.
being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much for being with us. All the best. Gabby Company, Melbourne, Australia, and my guest today, Ruth. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
The Dreaming Show.